my channel.
Hello everyone, my name is Aka and welcome to my channel. It feels a bit strange because I'm actually sitting down to do a video. I've not actually sat down on this bed for a while now. Most of my videos have been vlogs. For those of you who are new, let me just introduce myself. My name is Akambiya, but you can call me Aka because I know the pronunciation can be a little bit difficult. So I don't mind if you call me Aka. In fact, my friends call me Aka. So I think if you're watching this video, we can be friends. So we're friends. So just call me Aka. Yeah, so I'm a single mom of two, and I live in Lusaka, Zambia with my two children who are 6 and 4 now. She just had her 4th birthday, and my son will be turning 7 in a few days. So, yeah, that's that about me. On this channel, I show you my day-to-day life as a mom of two, as a single mother of two, just living our lives, trying my best to give my children the best life that they can have, to give them the best experiences. This channel is very important to me because I started it as a way to bring awareness of fibroids, their effects, and what can be done about them. I suffered from fibroids and had surgery to have them removed. So this channel was mainly a way to help women out there. If there's any woman out there that has been told that she has fibroids, just to give them hope that you can still have children, you can still have a good quality of life, even if you have them, and that there is hope after surgery. Along the way, life happened. So I found myself being a single mother. I was married for close to 3 years. The marriage ended in 2018, and for the longest time, I had such anger and such bitterness because of how it ended. It ended in a very violent way, not physically, but just the separation was very violent. And I just always felt that it was unnecessary. There was no need for it to end in that way. I always believe that love can't be forced. It's either you love someone or you don't. And it's either someone loves you or they don't. So if you're with someone and you feel that the love is no longer there, I think it's fine just to say, hey, I don't feel this way anymore. We need to go our separate ways. And you, as a person hearing that news, even though it's horrible and it's devastating, it shatters the dreams and the hopes that you had for your future, you have to accept it because you cannot force someone to love you. So that's why I feel like infidelity is just such a very violating and horrible way to end a relationship. If you don't want to be with someone, just tell them that you don't want to be with them and leave. Let that person have the dignity of knowing first rather than finding out later. So in my case, my husband was unfaithful and he chose to leave and be with someone else. And so I accepted that. But then after some time, he decided he wanted to come back. But the way I am, I'm a Sagittarius. So I'm one person who, once my mind is made up, it's made up. And once you show me who you are, that's it. You don't have to tell me twice. So after I saw the sort of person he became, oh, sorry, my door is banging. So when he tried to reconcile, for me, that was an absolute no. It was never an option. As soon as I found out about the infidelity, I was out. Even when we were dating, I told him that one of my deal breakers is infidelity. If you cheat, I'm out. There are no second chances or no. Because I'm a very logical person. So my mind takes over. So once my emotions have been tampered with, my brain takes over. So now I'm thinking, being with this person is a risk to my health, it's a risk to my children, and also it's just detrimental to my mental health. So for me, that was that. So when I refused to reconcile, he got very angry and very nasty. So I had a lot of anger about the whole experience, about how he treated me and how just the whole thing happened, and also the aftermath. So that is the mind space that I've had all this time. So last month, my ex actually sent me a message for the first time since 2019, just before my daughter was born. So he sent me a message and told me that he had had heart surgery and that he just wanted to make peace and that he wished me well, I guess. So after the experience that I had with him and knowing who he is based on how he acted, I knew logically that the best thing would just be to keep no contact because it's healthy for my mental health and also just for my overall well-being. So I did not respond to that message until yesterday. I watched a video that just really touched me. I'm going to insert the video in here.
Day, this wealthy woman looked me square in my eyes and said these words to me. The company I used to work for dispatched me to a very wealthy area in South Florida. When I got to her building, her condo was near the top floor. She was probably in her late 70s, early 80s, very timid woman, and her husband wasn't really too friendly. But anyways, I got the issue resolved, and when I was getting ready to leave, I started to make my way to the front door, and there she was standing in the kitchen, just holding a little compact mirror, putting on lipstick, and I said, "Ma'am, it was nice meeting you. I'm getting ready to leave. Do you have any other questions?" She says, "No, thank you. But one thing, take a look at these pictures on the wall." And she pointed to pictures of herself when she was younger. She says, "Wasn't I beautiful?" Now, even though I was single at the time, you couldn't pay me to comment on the customer's appearance while I'm on the clock because one, I felt it was unprofessional. Two, if my job found out, I can get in trouble. And three, she was married. However, it wasn't really what she asked me that moved me. It was the way she asked me. You can tell by the sound of her voice. She wasn't being egotistical. She wasn't being conceited. You can sense the brokenness in her spirit. So I said, "Ma'am, not only were you beautiful then, but you're beautiful now." And as soon as I said that, she turns, looks at me, and there was tears coming down her face. And I started to freak out inside. I'm like, I'm about to lose my job. Like, "I'm so sorry, ma'am. I didn't even mean to offend you." Her husband's going to come out and see her crying, and he's going to ask what I said. And she says, "No, son, you don't understand. My husband, my husband calls me ugly all the time." And I'm like, even though it's been over 8 years ago, it still feels like yesterday. And I keep getting choked up. I can still hear the pain in her voice. I can still see her tears. Be very careful what you say to people, even in the moments of anger. Words are so powerful that people who are beautiful, people who are gifted, talented, people who are smart can actually believe that they're not. The Bible says that gentle words are a tree of life, but a deceitful tongue crushes the spirit. If someone has spoken something over you that it has completely destroyed your confidence and you don't see yourself the way God sees you, I want you to understand something. What God says about you overrides every word man has spoken to you. I know it hurts, especially from a parent, a loved one. It can completely wreck you. Although those words may have cut deep and are hard to forget, I want you to know that forgiveness is not impossible. Whenever I think about things that have been done or said to me that I believe were unforgivable, I always remember Jesus forgave me for the unforgivable too. And whether it came from a place of weakness, a place of wickedness, one thing I will not allow anyone to do is put me in a prison of unforgiveness and resentment and bitterness, because that only affects me and not the person that has done it to me. If you are still dealing with unforgiveness because of something someone said to you or did to you, they may not ever apologize, they may not ever take accountability. I pray today is the day you release it and you give it to Jesus so that you can walk in your freedom that he died for, and that person can no longer hold you in bondage anymore. I pray that today will be the day that you decide to take back what the enemy has tried to take from you: your peace, your confidence, and your joy.
And to be honest, I've been having these thoughts for a few weeks. The thought of forgiveness, forgiving him, it has been nagging at me for the longest time. Something has been telling me, maybe it's the Holy Spirit, I don't know. But I believe in God and I believe that God speaks to us through the Holy Spirit. And sometimes it's that little voice inside. So, yeah, that voice has really been hammering at me for a few weeks now. Um, Forgiveness. I keep getting the sense in my heart, forgive him, forgive him, forgive him. And I had so much anger that I just could not fathom the thought of forgiving him, especially for the fact, hi. Oh, this is nice, you clever girl. As I was saying, this little voice has been nagging me for a while, but the anger was so raw because my anger was justified. So that video touched me so much that I felt compelled to respond to his email. And if you've dealt with a narcissist, you know that you only have to deal with the facts, be very to the point, don't add any emotion in your exchange with them. And so that's what I did. I wrote him a very simple email that just said, I forgive you and I wish you well. And like, I mean that from deep down my heart. I have actually let go of that anger that I had, and I have forgiven him and I have let it go. But that is not to say that I wish to have any further interactions with him, because I know it's not good for my mental health. It's not good for any aspect of my life. So me telling him that I forgive him was just me letting this anger that I've had go. So yeah, that is what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to talk about forgiveness and letting go. And yeah, something happened yesterday as well. I don't know if this is just like a sign. In 2015, me and my ex adopted a dog. It was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful big dog, and for most of his life was very healthy until last year when he started getting sick. We just noticed he kept losing weight and losing more weight and more weight and more weight until eventually he was pretty much just skin and bones. But before that, we took him to the vet and he was put on medication. They told us he had like a liver problem, but that's something that could be resolved. So for 1 week, I would take him to the vet. So each time we'd go to the vet, I'm the one who would have to tie the bandage on him and put the muzzle. And I'd be so exhausted because even though he was sick and had lost weight, he was still quite heavy. So it was very taxing for me physically. So for a whole week, had to take him there to get his IV, and just the process of him being cannulated was kind of traumatic. They tried on both of his legs, both of them. They started on the first one, and I'm sorry, I don't know the technical terms, whatever it's called, but like blood began to rush to the place they poked him, and it bulged. So they couldn't do that. They had to go to the other side and they had to shave him, and it took a really long time. Anyway, when his treatment was done, we were told that he needed, oh yeah, he was also anemic. So we had to buy him medicine for that. The same people medicine had to buy that for him. And then he also had to be on a high protein diet. So my mom had to give him 1 egg every day for a few weeks. And he was showing signs of improvement. He was getting a little bit better, gaining a little bit of weight. His appetite had improved a bit. But since then, he has just not been the same. He's been fluctuating. His weight has been fluctuating. And yeah, his health has just been declining since that point. And yeah, it's been quite sad to watch. You know, when you have an animal that's so healthy and then all of a sudden it's just sick all the time, and he was bones, skin and bones. We could tell that at this point it was just palliative care, really, just to make him as comfortable as possible. His diet changed. He couldn't just eat the way we used to feed him. My mom had to buy him special food. She'd have to cook him just chicken on its own. He didn't want anything else like rice or no carbohydrates. He just wanted to have just chicken. So it was, yeah, very sad. So yesterday around, I think it was 4 p.m., my son called me, Andrew Patrick. He's at my parents for a week because he's on school break. So he called me yesterday and told me that my dog had died. And it was really shocking because I was there just the day before and he looked a lot better. Even my mom said that his appetite had improved and he was showing like serious signs of improvement. So when I heard that he died, it was very shocking to me. And yeah, it was very shocking. And so interestingly, yesterday morning, I wrote the message to my ex saying, I forgive you and I wish you well. And yesterday afternoon, our dog died. Yeah, that's that was is an interesting coincidence if you think about it. Yeah, so it was almost like it was really the end of a chapter. Me saying I forgive you and I let you go, and my dog dying on the very same day. I feel like it might be a sign, like, to really let go of the past and to embrace the future. Because that dog was really nice. He was a great dog. I love that guy. He was very jovial, very friendly, and it was sad to see him suffer for so long and be in pain. And in some way, it's almost a relief that he has died. It's almost a relief that he has died because now he's not in pain anymore. Now he can just go off to dog heaven and have a pain-free life. And yeah, it was very upsetting for me. And also my daughter, she's very high EQ, and just the way she reacted to it, it was so heartbreaking. Just he had a happy life, right?
Yeah.
He had the garden to run around.
Yeah. And he had us to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, it was so amazing to see just how mature she is for her age. And she was very upset, and I could tell she wanted to cry, but she was holding back because she didn't want me to cry more. And so I actually had to tell her that it was okay to cry. When you feel sad, it's fine to cry. When you experience loss, when you experience loss, especially through death, I think crying is really the only thing that you have. See, I'm a very logical person. Usually, I don't believe that, like for myself, that crying helps anything. If crying will not fix a situation, I'd rather hold that off until we sort of sort this situation out, and then I cry after that. But in the case of loss, there is no remedy. It's the end. It's the final. That's it. You never see the person or that thing again. The animal, the pet, you never see them again. And so if ever there was a time where crying were the most logical thing to do, the death of a loved one, of a pet, would be that. And so yeah, my daughter saw me cry yesterday. I cried because I was really sad about the dog. He suffered for so long, and he was a good dog. So yesterday, yeah, it was very emotionally charged for me. In the morning, dealing with just letting that anger go and forgiveness, and then in the evening, dealing with grief and loss. Uh, it was a very strange day. Let's just put it that way. And yeah, so my daughter and I cried about it, and we talked about it, and even now she keeps saying, "I miss Duke. I miss Duke." That was his name. She went to bed saying, "I miss Duke," and I explained. I tried to make it make sense to her because death doesn't make sense. I'm 34, and even to me, death still doesn't make sense. But since I'm a Christian, I believe that there is life after death, and so I explained to her that. And this is a very simplistic way of explaining things because she's a little 4-year-old. Don't need to get technical or too factual about things. So I told her that he was in heaven and that he wasn't in pain anymore. And so she raises her hands in the air and she screams, "Heaven, give me back my dog."
Heaven, give me back my dog.
I wish it were that easy, buddy. Not quite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, that made me feel so sad, And yet she was still really trying to be strong. And yeah, it was a weird day yesterday, honestly. But I sort of feel like this huge weight has been lifted from me, from my shoulders, just by forgiving him and letting that part of my life go. And also the fact that my dog is no longer in pain anymore. um For the longest time, I actually blocked it off. I ignored how sick he was. I just didn't think about it. I knew he was sick. Every time I went to my parents, I would see him and he looked really bad. And I felt so bad that I just blocked it off. I'm that sort of person. Experiences, things that cause me pain, I have the ability to just shut them off somewhere and just not think about them. And so I did that for a long time. And it was a way that I managed to cope. Um, so yesterday when he died, it's just like all these emotions that I had been holding back for all this time just like came pouring in. And yeah, I was very wow, very emotional. But even though it's painful, loss is painful, death is painful, grief is torturously painful. But ultimately, at least he's not in pain anymore. And so saying bye to the death of anything is just really traumatic. I said goodbye, or I grieved the loss of my marriage years ago. And so I have no emotions attached because, as far as I'm concerned, it's been dead for years. And so I can talk about it now without much emotion uh, because I grieved it. I've already cried. I've cried buckets. I cried for days. I couldn't eat for days when I was dealing with all the issues with my ex-husband. And so I have no emotions left. I used them all. So yeah, this video, it's quite spontaneous. It's Wednesday morning. I just gave my daughter a bath. I've not even made her breakfast, but I just thought I'd sit down and talk to the camera and talk about loss and growth. Yes, I would title this video Loss, Growth, and Change. So, loss is, in this context, the death of a relationship, of a person, of a beloved pet. That loss and the emotions that come with it. And growth is when you're able to look past all these experiences that you have had, or these experiences you've been forced to endure. Look past them, no matter how bad they were, no matter how horrific they were, how painful, how unfair they were. Look past them and forgive. When you forgive, that is growth, because you've left. It's like a plant. There's some plants that do beautifully, they bloom beautiful flowers, but then when the winter comes, they shrivel up and they die, and it looks like they're gone. But when the spring comes, the seeds that fell from the flowers when they're in full bloom come back to life and they grow. And that's the same thing in a relationship. It's beautiful, it's green, flourishing. You're welcome, my darling girl. Oh, as I was saying, loss, growth, change. So yeah, relationships come and go. When they come, they're blooming, they're green, they're beautiful. A storm comes, uproots the plant, and you think it's dead, but the seeds that fell on the ground. When the springtime comes, there they come. They grow again and they bloom again. That is growth. I think that is the period I'm in now. I'm in the growth period because it was not easy for me. Okay, sweetheart, I'm coming, okay? Just give. Oh, I love it. Beautiful. Good job, baby. Wow, go do another one. As I was saying, so I'm in the season of growth because I let go, I forgive, and I have truly nothing but the best. I wish him nothing truly but the best. And now I'm in the growth season. That's how I feel right now. I just feel energized, I feel positive, and I feel hopeful. Which brings me now to the change part of things. So my daughter just turned 4 years old last week, and she will be starting preschool on Tuesday next week. And so that is a very big change for me. I'm used to having her around. Since she was born, I'd say I've spent almost every single day of her life with her, and we're very close. She's really a mommy's girl. We do everything together, we go everywhere together. I've been her primary caregiver since the day she was born. So she's my baby girl. She's my little baby girl, my sweet girl. And she has been wanting to go to school for so long, but I haven't been ready, and I've been putting it off for a long time, but she has been begging me to go to school. And finally, when she turned 4, I realized it was time. And so starting next week, I'll be a mom of 2 school going children. So that's a big change. And it also means that I will have the mornings free. It's going to be very strange for me, but I will say this: for the past almost 7 years, I've really sacrificed everything for my children, all my time. I believe that there's so little for such a short time, and that is such a worthy sacrifice, because I always say I want to raise human beings that are productive to society, and I'm very big on being very present in their formative years. And so I've done so much sacrifice. I don't really have any personal time. All my time is spent with the children, or doing things for the children, or it's just centered around the children. And so now that I have this free time, I feel like this is the time for me to kind of launch myself. I have my businesses that I've been trying to launch for a while, but it's just never really taken off, because honestly speaking, taking care of 2 children alone is really time consuming. And now that they're both in school, I have more time to do things that I have not been able to. So I have my headband business. So I make this headband, African print. I bake cakes as well, and I also do photography. And so now that I have this free time now in the morning, I'm able to pursue those things more ardently and hopefully be more successful because of all this extra time that I now have. I also have time to work on myself. I plan to join a gym and spend at least an hour every day at the gym, just to try and make my body align with my mind, because I feel like my mind is in a very positive and healthy state at the moment, and so I'd like my body to follow that. And I'm very excited, but also a little bit sad because my baby is going off. Can I finish the video now?
Okay. And I want this is when we just woke up.
We just woke up. Well, actually, we've been awake since 7, and
Yeah.
it's laundry day.
And then she bathed me.
Yeah, I bathed her. Laundry day. We're washing our bed sheets.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we're going to go and make breakfast. Anyway, it looks like this is the end of my video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. It was just, me putting my thoughts into words on camera, and it might not be as coherent or make as much sense, but I hope it made some sense.
Mom, this has been long time no see how we have not made that video.
Yeah, it's true. A sit down video. Oh, don't do that in front of the camera. I hope it made some sense. I hope it's helpful to someone going through whatever situation you're going through out there. I hope you found this video helpful in some way, informative, and maybe even healing. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much to everyone who subscribed to my channel. Thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate every single one of you. If you've watched the video up to this point, kindly consider subscribing. I really appreciate any support I can get. I'm trying to get to 400. That's our current goal, and right now we're at 371, so we only have a little bit more to go. So please help me by subscribing, by sharing the video with people that you think might enjoy it. Please don't hesitate to comment in the comment section below. I enjoy reading all your comments, and I respond to them as soon as I can. I will see you in the next video. Bye. Say bye, you.
Bye.